There's a cataract lens currently available that allows your surgeon to precisely adjust your vision using UV light, weeks after your procedure is finished. The marketing materials call it revolutionary. The cost adds $3,000 or more that comes straight out of your own pocket, and roughly 9 out of 10 cataract patients don't actually need it. Over the next 18 minutes, I'll walk you through the single specific patient category where this lens is worth every cent, along with the 4 categories of people who get offered it and would essentially be throwing money away. In the coming 18 minutes, I'm going to cover 4 key points. First, what the light adjustable lens truly is, explained in everyday terms rather than sales language. Second, the one patient group where it delivers full value for every dollar spent. Third, the 4 groups where it falls flat, despite being routinely pitched to them anyway. And fourth, the 3 critical questions you need to ask before committing, questions that will protect you from purchasing the wrong lens entirely. Stick around until the end, because I'll reveal what board-certified IOL specialists themselves choose when they're the ones sitting in the patient's chair. I'm Dr. Narita, your senior vision wellness educator. Everything in this video is sourced directly from board-certified cataract and refractive surgeons who bring more than 18 years of hands-on surgical experience to the table, surgeons who hold no financial interest in any intraocular lens manufacturer and have zero incentive to steer you toward one lens over another. I'm not a surgeon myself. I'm the educator who takes what these specialists genuinely discuss behind closed consultation room doors and translates it into the specific questions and choices you need to grasp before signing off on a premium lens upgrade. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I publish a fresh video daily covering senior vision health, cataract procedures, and IOL selection. And before we dive deeper, tell me in the comments which IOL your doctor has suggested for you so far, whether that's monofocal, toric, multifocal, light adjustable, or something else entirely. I read through every single comment, and I'll personally respond to the first 20 people letting you know whether the approach outlined in this video points toward the LAL being the right choice for your particular eye. Before we continue, I need to draw a firm boundary here. Certain symptoms that appear after cataract surgery mean you should be calling your eye doctor immediately, not waiting until next week. Intense pain in the eye that was operated on, paired with a loss of vision, that's a genuine emergency. An eye that's red and severely painful, with halos surrounding lights during the first month post-surgery, could signal endophthalmitis, a dangerous post-surgical infection requiring same-day emergency attention. A sudden dark curtain or shadow sweeping across your field of vision after the procedure might indicate a retinal detachment, another same-day emergency situation. If any of these symptoms sound like what you're experiencing, pause this video right now and contact your surgeon immediately. The discussion we're about to have regarding IOL selection applies to the pre-surgery planning phase, a completely separate time frame altogether. Most people walking into a cataract consultation assume they're facing a single decision, simply removing the cataract. That's not accurate. The far more consequential decision involves selecting which artificial lens will take the place of your natural one. Since that lens remains inside your eye permanently, there are 5 genuine choices available on today's menu in 2026. The standard monofocal option, which Medicare covers. The toric lens, designed to fix astigmatism. The multifocal lens, offering both near and distance vision. The extended depth of focus lens, or EDOF, which smooths out your range of vision. And the light adjustable lens, known as the LAL, manufactured by RxSight. Among these 5 options, the LAL stands alone as the only one that can be customized after your surgery has already taken place. That's essentially the whole selling point. What this video determines is whether your particular situation actually calls for that adjustability, or whether you'd simply be paying extra for a capability that provides you no real benefit. Now for the science, explained simply. The LAL is constructed from silicone and contains light-reactive macromers embedded directly within the material. These macromers are compact chemical chains capable of shifting position and rearranging themselves once they absorb a particular wavelength of ultraviolet light. Stated plainly, the lens itself is engineered to change its own shape when triggered. Once your surgeon has placed the LAL inside your eye, it functions just like any other IOL initially. Your vision comes through it, your eye recovers around it, and for roughly the first 2 weeks, everything seems ordinary. The actual transformation doesn't happen during the surgical procedure itself. It occurs afterward, in the office setting, using a separate piece of equipment called the light delivery device, or LDD. Here's how the timeline unfolds. Approximately 2 to 3 weeks following surgery, Once your cornea has stabilized and any swelling has subsided, you return for a follow-up visit. Your surgeon performs a refraction just as an optometrist would, pinpointing precisely where your vision currently stands. Perhaps you're slightly nearsighted by a quarter diopter. Maybe there's a touch of leftover astigmatism. Whatever the measurement reveals, the LDD gets programmed to project a precisely calculated pattern of UV light through your dilated pupil directly onto the lens. This UV exposure isn't generic. It's a custom-formed beam tailored specifically to your eye, taking approximately 90 seconds to complete each session. That light activates the macromers, causing them to shift position within the silicone, physically altering the lens shape from within. You won't feel a thing during this. You'll leave the office, and your vision will continue sharpening over the following 24 to 72 hours. Roughly a week afterward, you're back for another refraction, and your surgeon evaluates whether an additional tuning session is warranted. Nearly every patient requires a minimum of 2 tuning appointments, with most falling somewhere between 3 and 5 total sessions. The lens material contains a limited supply of available adjustments, which explains why your surgeon tracks each session as carefully as a strategic move in chess. Once both surgeon and patient agree the prescription has reached its ideal point, you'll return one final time for what's referred to as the lock-in. This lock-in consists of 2 concluding UV exposures, spaced a few days apart, which use up whatever macromers remain in the lens material, so nothing inside the eye can ever alter the prescription again. Following lock-in, the lens becomes chemically fixed at your final measurement, permanently. That permanence represents both the key benefit and the reason every single step leading up to lock-in carries such weight. Whatever gets locked in becomes what you'll live with going forward. Here's the part the marketing brochures conveniently leave out. Between your surgery date and your final lock-in appointment, you're required to wear UV protective eyewear during virtually every waking hour. Not merely when you're outside, indoors too. The reasoning is simple. Fluorescent office lighting, older incandescent bulbs, sun pouring through a south-facing kitchen window, and naturally any time spent outdoors under genuine sunlight, every one of these sources emits some degree of ultraviolet light. The macromers embedded in the LAL can't distinguish between the calibrated UV coming from the LDD and random UV drifting in from your kitchen window. Should unplanned UV reach the lens, the macromers begin shifting in directions nobody intended. Your prescription could change unexpectedly. You might use up a tuning session without ever visiting the LDD. You could end up locked into a refraction that suits no one. Standard practice involves patients receiving a durable pair of wraparound UV-blocking glasses on their surgery day, worn from the moment they wake until lights out at night, for a stretch lasting anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks total until the lock-in process concludes. Outside, these glasses are mandatory without exception. Inside, they're required throughout the entire active adjustment period. Sleeping is the sole exception. Should you remove the glasses for a brief 30-minute stroll to check your mailbox under afternoon sun, you may have inadvertently altered your refraction in a direction your surgeon never planned for. Leave them sitting on the kitchen counter while washing dishes near a sunlit window, and you've created the same risk. Decide to read on your patio without the wraparounds for what seems like a harmless 15 minutes, and you might have burned through one of your limited 3 to 5 adjustment chances. Committing to UV protection around the clock for 4 to 8 weeks represents a genuine lifestyle obligation. It isn't negotiable or flexible in any way. This discipline is precisely why the technology succeeds, and precisely why it fails when applied to the wrong candidate. Anyone downplaying this reality is marketing the lens to you rather than honestly explaining it. Quick pause here. If everything so far is resonating with you, tap that like button. It's the single factor determining whether this video ever reaches the next person who genuinely needs this information, someone possibly sitting in a pre-surgery consultation next week, being pushed toward a premium lens without anyone ever walking them through the actual trade-offs involved. Now let's stack the LAL up against the other lens options available, so you can clearly identify where its advantages actually exist and where they don't. The standard monofocal lens, covered by Medicare for patients aged 65 and older, provides a single focal point, typically set for distance vision, delivering sharpness on the eye chart. You'll still need reading glasses for your phone screen. In terms of predictability, roughly 92 to 94% of patients end up within half a diopter of their intended target. That's a solid outcome. Published data on the LAL shows it achieving over 98% of eyes landing within half a diopter of target. So technically, the LAL delivers greater precision. The real question becomes whether, in your specific case, that extra 4 percentage points of accuracy justifies spending roughly $3,000 or more from your own pocket. For a typical healthy eye with a normal cornea, the answer is almost never yes. But for a complicated eye, such as one that previously underwent LASIK, those 4 percentage points become the entire deciding factor. Comparing it to the toric lens, which corrects astigmatism through a built-in cylindrical correction, versus the LAL, which can also address astigmatism but calibrates the cylinder correction after your healing process and corneal settling are complete. This distinction matters because your cornea continues shifting throughout recovery. With a toric lens, your surgeon selects the cylinder correction before surgery even begins and hopes for the best outcome. With the LAL, adjustment happens based on where your eye actually ends up landing. Multifocal and EDOF lenses provide a broader focusing range but come with the trade-off of nighttime halos and glare, and once implanted, you can't reverse that if it proves intolerable. The LAL, however, can be tuned toward what the manufacturer describes as extended range patterns following surgery. And if the result doesn't agree with you, your surgeon has the option to retune it back towards single-focus vision instead. This tunability represents the LAL's genuine standout advantage, and it's also the aspect most poorly explained within typical marketing pitches. Now let's talk about the one patient category where the LAL delivers complete value for every dollar invested. Picture someone who underwent LASIK or PRK surgery 10 or 20 years back and is now, in their late 50s or 60s, developing cataracts. Why does this situation matter so much? Because LASIK fundamentally alters the shape of the cornea. Once a cornea has been surgically reshaped through laser correction, the standard mathematical formulas used to calculate proper IOL power become significantly less dependable. Research indicates that residual refractive error rates following conventional cataract surgery in post-LASIK eyes run roughly 2 to 3 times higher compared to eyes that never had prior surgery. Let me introduce you to Thomas, a composite patient created for illustration, though his situation mirrors patterns documented in published case studies involving post-LASIK cataract patients. Thomas is 61 years old. He underwent LASIK back in the late 1990s to correct moderate nearsightedness, around -5 diopters. He enjoyed excellent vision for the following 2 decades. Now he's developing a posterior subcapsular cataract in his right eye. His preoperative measurements get calculated using specialized post-LASIK formulas. The projected IOL power comes back showing a half diopter range of uncertainty, depending on which calculation formula gets applied. That half diopter of ambiguity on the front end represents precisely the margin capable of pushing a patient from satisfied to dissatisfied. Using a standard monofocal IOL, the surgeon would select a single number and hope for accuracy. With the LAL approach, the surgeon starts with an initial number, performs the surgery, allows 2 to 3 weeks for corneal healing, then refracts Thomas at his actual current state and fine-tunes the lens to bring him to perfect focus or plano. Documented refractive accuracy for post-LASIK eyes using the LAL exceeds 95% within half a diopter of target. Experienced specialists in this field describe it as the closest equivalent to a genuine do-over available in cataract surgery today. By the completion of his lock-in cycle, Thomas ends up with the same sharp distance vision he enjoyed at age 40, and he retains it. Here's a second profile worth understanding. Teresa, age 58. She's been severely nearsighted throughout her life, with an axial eye length around 27 millimeters. For comparison, a typical eyeball measures roughly 23 to 24 millimeters, so 27 places her firmly in the long axial length category, a group where standard IOL formulas are well known to undercorrect. Teresa also deals with irregular corneal astigmatism resulting from years of wearing rigid gas, permeable contact lenses during her 30s. Her goal is complete independence from glasses following cataract surgery. Using a standard toric IOL, the cylindrical correction would be permanently set the instant the surgeon places the lens, with no ability to adjust it afterward. Using the LAL instead, the surgeon implants the lens, allows the cornea 2 to 3 weeks to relax once contact lens-induced warping has fully resolved, refracts her at her true settled state, and then tunes both the sphere and cylinder measurements to achieve plano. Her eye represents a textbook LAL candidate. Her axial length, corneal irregularity, and stated goals all point in the identical direction. Predictability is essentially the product being sold here, and the LAL delivers on that promise. Both Thomas and Teresa exemplify patients for whom the LAL justifies every dollar spent. There's also a smaller group that legitimately benefits. Patients who previously underwent radial keratotomy, or RK, a procedure that was popular during the 1980s before LASIK existed. Their corneas keep fluctuating even decades afterward, which makes standard IOL formulas unreliable for them as well. Now let's cover the 4 groups where the LAL gets offered routinely but simply doesn't pay off. Group 1. Individuals with a generally healthy eye, no history of LASIK, a normal cornea, and no significant astigmatism. A standard monofocal lens, covered by insurance, will land you within half a diopter of your target roughly 93% of the time. You'll need reading glasses for your phone, but you'll save approximately $3,000 or more. Consider Edith, another composite patient, a 67-year-old retired teacher. Her eye exam comes back healthy, her axial length measures around 23.5 millimeters, and she has less than half a diopter of minor astigmatism. No LASIK history, no previous eye surgeries whatsoever. Her cataract represents a typical case of age-related lens clouding. Edith drives during daylight hours, already relies on drugstore reading glasses, and her main priority is seeing road signs and recipe instructions more clearly. A standard monofocal IOL set for distance vision, fully covered under Medicare, gives her a 93% likelihood of landing within half a diopter of plano on the very first attempt. The marginal improvement gained by paying an additional $3,000 or more to push that success rate up to 98%, combined with the burden of wearing UV protective glasses for 4 to 8 weeks, plus attending 3 to 5 extra office appointments, simply doesn't justify the cost for someone like Edith. She'd essentially be paying premium pricing for a level of predictability she was statistically likely to achieve regardless, while also committing to a demanding regimen that has zero clinical relevance to her specific eye. When a patient matching Edith's profile gets pitched the LAL as a recommended upgrade, that recommendation is coming from marketing material, not from actual biometric data. Group 2. Patients who either cannot or will not commit to wearing UV protective glasses around the clock for 4 to 8 consecutive weeks. Removing the glasses for even a half-hour walk in sunlight can consume one of your limited adjustment opportunities. If you've ever forgotten to take a daily medication, missed a scheduled dose, or discontinued antibiotics early because you started feeling better, the LAL's demands will work against you. The macromer chemistry involved offers zero tolerance for lapses in discipline. Group 3. Patients unable to make 3 to 5 separate return visits to their surgeon's office for light treatments. If you live in a rural area, serve as a caregiver for a spouse, or can't drive yourself between appointments because your other eye is simultaneously undergoing treatment, then 3 to 5 tuning visits, plus the lock-in appointment, plus standard post-surgical checkups, add up to 6 to 8 separate trips spread across a 2-month period. When each trip requires an hour of travel each way and half a day off work for whoever's providing transportation, those hidden costs accumulate rapidly. Group 4. Patients hoping to achieve complete independence from glasses at both near and far distances. The LAL excels at hitting your exact targeted prescription, but if what you're hoping for is a broad multifocal experience, understand that the LAL functions as an extended depth of focus tool rather than a genuine multifocal lens. You may still find yourself needing reading glasses. Patients who hear the term tunable lens and assume that means perfectly tuned for every possible distance often end up disappointed with their results. There's a 5th profile worth mentioning separately, since it doesn't fit neatly into the 4 categories above, yet it appears constantly during pre-surgery consultations. This is the patient who's already paying out of pocket for numerous things in life and gets told that the LAL represents the premium upgrade option. They hear the word premium and automatically assume that better inherently equals worth the money. That's a mindset borrow.